Hey, what's up, everybody? How's your day going so far? I hope you just said good. You probably said nothing, but I'll never know. This week I asked men on Instagram, what question would you ask a single woman if you could ask anything? Thank you so much to everybody that sent one in. I chose a good sampling of those questions to sit down and discuss with my best friend and first female guest. I'll go ahead and toss in a quick disclaimer here and say that everything we say is just in our humble opinions, because obviously we can't speak for all women everywhere, but we can speak for ourselves. And that's a start. So let's get into it. I hope you enjoy this internet-fueled conversation that I had with my friend, Michelle Harman. Are you ready?
So ready.
Are you ready for this? We're going to answer questions that I got from dudes on the internet.
Oh, boy. How many did you have to edit out?
I had to take out a good, let's say, 6 to 8.
Yeah.
6 to 8 weird ones that, we probably didn't need to talk about.
All the nasties.
A little bit extra nasty, a little unnecessary, But we got some really good ones, too. Let's jump into these questions. You ready?
Yes.
What is the first thing you notice about a guy?
Eyes, for sure, is a big one.
Yeah, I noticed that, too. I like a kind eye.
The kind eye.
Maybe 2 of them.
Yeah, I'm partial to a blue or green eye usually.
Okay, so
but I'm not gonna say I wouldn't love the others.
But you have a type.
Oh, my type is definitely blonde hair, blue eyes.
Type surfer looking men.
But
you can branch out.
I can branch out.
You can branch out. I have a type too.
White skinny men.
A little bit. They're not
Tall.
all skinny. Not all skinny. I break the boundaries though.
Yeah,
but they do have there's a little bit of a trend there. I think I notice eyes first. Like I said, like kind eyes. I also, if you're in an environment where like you can see them around their friends or you're like in a group, I notice like how he treats others and how people are treating him.
Yes.
Does that make sense? Like who he is in that group. Is he the funny one? Is he, you know what I mean? Is he like the hot guy in the group? Is he, everybody kind of seems to play a little bit of a role in their group, but I see how he treats others and how people are talking to him.
I always like to see that interaction because someone with you solo can be completely different when they're around their guy friends, say, and then they become more of a guy group think type of thing where they're more macho and trying to put on a front, whereas on solo they're just really trying to sell you on who they are at that time.
Ain't that the truth? That kind of goes into the next question, which is what are the things that a guy does during the beginning of dating that turn you off and cause you to bail? And what are your major turnoffs? Now, that's one of the things that's a major turnoff for me is when a guy seems to be one guy with me. And then if I see him in a public space or he gets around a lot of dudes, all of a sudden he's an entirely different kind of person,
Yes.
That's not super attractive to me. Or he kind of puts you off to the side a little bit during that time. It's like I'm looking for somebody, I guess, that maybe is a little bit consistent.
Yes.
In their being.
And somebody that understands that you can't just go out at 10 p.m.
Oh.
The people that
please tell them this.
that don't realize you got to put on makeup on and shave your legs and look nice for a date.
Yeah.
That's time. All men, listen. Do not text a woman after 9 p.m. and expect her to be able to go out.
No. If I've settled in.
She's in her PJs. She's taking her makeup off.
And you're trying to ask me to do that all again? Because they'll do that. It'll be 11 o'clock at night.
I've done it before, but
I've done it too. But it's like, just come out for 45 minutes because the bar's closed kind of early here. By the time you get the makeup on and the outfit on, you get the Uber and you're in the bar. You know what I mean? Like, you're only there for 45 minutes. But it's like the guys don't anticipate that, like, if someone was already settled in for the night, we have a bit of a process.
Yes.
And some guys will be like, don't do that process. Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
I show up with no makeup and be like, who is you? Like, it's me, Michelle.
You don't remember?
Oh, I'm going to go home now. Anyways, but yeah, I mean, I am attracted to people who, obviously, with a sense of humor. It's
That's a
But
big thing.
if you're
That'll
just
sway me.
Yeah, if you're just at a date and someone's just deadpan the whole time and they're not very expressive, you really can't get a read on them, that's a big turn off because you're just like, are we doing well? Like, do you like?
Yeah, remember I told you about that guy I went on a date with that had no facial expressions at all. And he would tell you how he was feeling, though. He'd be like, "Oh my God, that's so funny," but his face would not change. I didn't see him smile at any point during the night. He didn't blink enough. It was worrisome. It was worrisome, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
People that are too obsessed with outward appearances, like, that can be intimidating, and a lot of pressure, or just people with an ego, an automatic turnoff.
Yeah.
You can be confident and not be bragging about yourself and what you do.
They're entirely different things. And the problem is that sometimes what guys will do is they'll come in and they try to tell you everything about themselves that you should like, pretty much. Right? So they do most of the speaking because they're trying to bring forth all of their good qualities so that you're aware of them. But then they end up talking about themselves all night and they forget to kind of integrate you into the conversation. I've met a guy that, talked for about 2 hours and I didn't even need to say, he didn't need me at all. He could have been there by himself. And that's sometimes, I think sometimes it's ego. Sometimes it's just even a guy's nervousness if he does all that talking and he's just trying to play himself up. He's like, maybe if I just tell her everything that's good, maybe that'll work. Right?
Yeah, and doesn't pick up on social cues. You didn't say yeah or
I didn't even
There's
say
something wrong with their psyche.
I didn't even say What's another thing? There's also guys, have you experienced this, where you go out and they pick on you as though you're like third graders on a playground. So instead of complimenting you, this has happened to me several times. Instead of complimenting something they think is attractive, they kind of tend to make fun of it a little bit. You know what I mean? Or they try to, it's like they give you those like backhanded compliments where they're trying to say it's good or whatever. And then I brought it up to one of them once and I was like, if you like something, you can just say a normal compliment. You don't have to like make fun of it. And he goes, "Oh, well, I'm sure you get enough compliments, so I'm not going to compliment you anymore." Ooh. Ooh.
Hell no.
It's just a little odd, right? It's like a little childish, I guess.
It's like, okay, you obviously have some issues with yourself, so you have to make fun of me. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a strange thing. It's like if you want to say something nice to a lady, you can say something nice. There's no harm in that.
There's never too many overabundance of compliments unless they're genuine.
Yeah, if you mean them, feel free to say them. Feel free to say them. Next question. When will women realize that we don't pick up on subtle hints? Do you realize that? Do you realize that men don't pick up on those?
I do, because I've known a lot of guy friends who have been interested, and I feel like I've gotten off the vibe where definitely just friends, and it's come around where it's like, nope, they're still interested and they're still going to have that conversation where I'm very interested and I felt like I've said enough or done enough. And
I feel like you're way more clear than I am. I'm way less clear with guys than you are.
Probably true.
You're better at
But I mean, I guess it's just better to be 100% direct with people nowadays. And that's what I've learned. Like, just be honest and say what you're thinking, because I mean, guys do not pick up on these subtle hints where you're just like, oh, they're like, oh, hey, come to this bar with me. You're like, yeah, we should come with like a group of people, and they're still
when you try to group them.
Yeah. I can say that if the girl's not pursuing you or texting you or putting in that effort all the time, then most likely it's a one-sided thing. A girl will let you know when they like you for the most part, right?
Yeah. What's funny is when I'm interested in a man, I'm pretty clear about it. And when I'm either really on the fence or, distracted or not interested for whatever reason, that's when I start to get iffy. But if I'm into it, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
They always I feel like there's a very, very strong distinction between those two things. But I don't know. But also I feel like also what they're talking about too, it's like if we're being subtle as though like like what we want for our birthday or what we want to do. Like we just want them to know. We just want them to know us, right? Like they're just supposed to get it.
No.
And we hope we almost like women are testing them
Right.
to just know us. So we want to see if they get it. You know what I mean? I think sometimes guys feel like that's what we do if we're not being that clear.
Yeah.
The test.
I try not to do games like that, you know?
Maybe it's a
like,
young woman's game.
I'll be like, I enjoy these things. Give some hints, some ideas, ladies. Don't expect them to just know what you want without giving any type of ideas.
I think we do that. We'll drop kind of in passing, like, oh, I like this place. I do whatever. Women do tend to do that. Or we'll drop those little hints. Now, if guys could just, help themselves out maybe and realize that women will tend to do that, then they can make themselves look pretty fancy, like they were really listening. If they can pull upon those little things that maybe the woman they like has dropped in the past.
Definitely.
So, I mean, we just communicate differently as different sexes, I think. But I also think if you're with somebody and they're being super, super subtle, I think it's important to just ask for the directness.
Definitely.
Ask for it. Say, hey, just tell me. Just tell me. And I'll do whatever that is. If you really want to get down to it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So this guy, see, this goes along. Can women please also try to take some control in the relationship? Sometimes I feel like the man is expected to do everything. That's a communication issue.
Yeah. I feel like I've experienced early on dating where I had to take control over everything. And I had to pick out where we were going to go. And that was kind of like a big turnoff for me, even though like I know what we could do and I'm happy to do that.
You're a good planner.
I'm very much a planner. But I was like, well, why don't you think of some stuff? And I think it's definitely a balance issue. Like, I think it should be a little bit of both. So the guy doesn't feel pressure to make all the decisions all the time. It should be like, hey, what do you want to do tonight? What are you feeling? Are you feeling casual? Do you want to go out to the bar and have some drinks? Or do you want to stay at home and Netflix and chill? Which could mean very many different things nowadays.
You never know.
You never know.
Sometimes you're actually chilling. Sometimes they expect
it gets
more.
handsy. You don't know.
It gets a little handsy. Goodness gracious.
With the remote, I mean.
Just trying to decide who's going to pick
what are we going to watch?
That's what it is.
One of the major problems is what are we going to watch?
Exactly. Compatibility. So that's interesting, though, because this guy is saying, like, I have to do everything. This woman won't do anything. So maybe he's just running into those types of women as well, right? The women that don't take up any of that responsibility or have a strong opinion or what they want to do at the time. So that could be a case of he's just running into those type of women because that's a thing. But here's, I think, what I like, because I've realized that I am a tad old-fashioned for this day and age. I do like a man to kind of take the reign initially.
Yes.
In like the first date, maybe the second date, while we're just kind of in that process of getting to know each other. We're not fully dating yet. We're just kind of getting that introduction. I guess I've always assumed maybe a man appreciates being able to take on that role. You know what I mean? Like I feel like a man should feel like he's taking care of the woman in that sense in the beginning. In the beginning where there's a courtship a little bit.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what's always been in my head. So I do tend to kind of let the guys take the reins in those first couple of dates. But if we've established that we're now going to date, and we're dating, and we're in a thing, then I really start to come into play because now we're together. And then I start to kind of do more. So I feel like that's how I behave in that sort of situation.
Yeah. And I've had both sides of it where a guy was like, hey, let's go out to this place. And I'm like, sure, sounds great. And then other times where someone on the first day is like, hey, what are the types of places that you like? And I'll list a bunch of things and he'll be like, pick one of them. So it's kind of like a combo thing. But I definitely agree. It is nice for a guy in the beginning to be more of the leader. It is more of a traditional way of thinking, but I kind of like that.
Sometimes I don't know if that's right or wrong these days. I mean, I guess I always assume that there's something ingrained in men usually that kind of get a satisfaction from that. But I guess I don't know if that's true.
I think it just depends on the guy.
Probably. we're in a very forward-thinking time. Gender roles are all
very
different.
fluid.
We're fluid.
We're gender fluid. We don't know.
Okay, next one. Do you believe in zodiac compatibility? Okay, well, we started this off. I am a Scorpio. You're a Pisces. How do you feel about it?
Well, I have to admit, I don't know a ton about signs, but I do look it up when I'm meeting someone. I'll be like,
Isn't that funny?
what's your birthday? And I'll be like, ding, ding, oh, you're Scorpio, or
You run like a birth chart.
Taurus.
I'm gonna need exact. I'm gonna need an exact date and time you were born. What city were you
What
born
moon
in?
cycle was it?
Yeah.
I think there's definitely something to it. 100%. Like, there's definitely people that mesh better.
Yeah.
When there are those signs. And then sometimes, there's other people that don't even fit their sign at all.
I know.
But I definitely think there is something to that, and that people definitely do fit those personas.
Here's what I have to say about it. I think it's fascinating. I don't know if it's true. I don't know. It's been around for a long time. A lot of people put a lot of stock in it. What I don't really put stock in is like daily horoscopes. Like daily horoscopes. I'm like, you're telling me that everybody born on October 27th of 1986 is having the same day as me right now? Probably not.
Yeah,
Probably not. But do I relate to the Scorpio description? I do. Now, is that because I learned of it at a young age and I adapted to it? That's what some people believe, that we learn what our signs are and we just kind of take up those traits and start to see those more in ourselves. And I'm like, I don't think that. I genuinely, when I read it, I go, no, that's pretty much how I function, So that's one part of it. Now the part of it is like, does everybody match that? Do you specifically look for somebody in a certain sign? I don't.
No.
I wouldn't count somebody out because they are a sign that I was told was incompatible with me. You know what I mean?
Not. Every once in a while, I'm like, there's certain signs where I'm a little bit more wary of, because I know people that say,
you're like, every time I meet a Taurus.
Every time I meet an Aries, I'm like, you're stubborn, aren't you?
You just tell them about themselves when they...
So I read about you on the internet, and I
already know how this is going to go. Okay?
Yeah. So it's just going to tell you it's not going to work. Okay, bye. No. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, it's a very fine line. You just have to meet the person and decide for yourself. But definitely people do fit into those categories, I would say.
They do. And it's just fun, isn't it? I think it's kind of fun. I don't know if it's
how
completely
the universe
true,
works.
But it's kind of fun. It's fun to look it up, and it's fun to see if it's true and you feel like you agree with it.
I'm sure Neil deGrasse Tyson would have more to say on this.
I feel like he probably doesn't like it. But like I said, I don't know if it's true, but I know it's fun. So why not? Like, I tend to get along with a lot of Pisces people. Did you know that?
Oh.
Yeah. Pisces people, friends, a lot of friends, also have had good compatibility in men that I've dated that are Pisces. So I don't know what that is, okay? Because I haven't done all my research. But it's interesting.
Just meant that we were meant to be besties.
Nothing. Fun question next. How much of a pain in the ass are bras to take off when you're drunk? You seem to be an expert on this one when I previewed this one for you.
Sometimes I just like, it's easy. Just go, pop.
I know. Well,
it comes off.
Women are experts. As the guys, they struggle with it.
No, it's more of just having to wear it all day. As soon as I get home, I'm just like...
Do you feel free?
I just take it off. I'm free.
I feel like you can breathe. You just...
I hippie it
You just
out
walk like an
home.
Egyptian. Everybody missed that. But you something happened there.
It's not hard.
Let's expand on this question.
Yeah.
What is your process when you arrive home drunk? What does your drunk self do when it arrives home? I know what mine does. Tell me about yours.
Definitely get in the comfy clothes for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Jams.
Mm-hmm. Jams.
Snacks, some TV. If I'm feeling real ambitious, I'll wash the face. But if I'm real drunk, it's not going to happen.
That means you still care.
Yeah.
You really care.
Yeah.
Because you're worried about breakouts. You're not trying to get the makeup on the pillow.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
But usually not. Just pass out. There.
I haven't come home real drunk in a long time, actually. But I know what she does, and I call her she because I think she's a different person.
Do you have a name for her?
No, I should. I haven't been her in a while.
Oh, okay.
But But usually when I come home, this is what it is, right? You become a detective in the morning and you say, what did I do when I came
Yeah.
home exactly? So if I wake up in the morning, I can see usually a trail of clothes from the front door to the bathroom. So I usually have started the heels have come
Wow.
off and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I strip away the outside self. I'll put that away, leave it on the ground. Okay. For some reason, I think it feels like my tipsy self tries to convince itself that it's not that tipsy. We're in control. That's what drunk self's trying to do.
I've seen it.
You see, she tries. But when I come home, I always wake up with water next to the bed usually.
Oh,
I wake up with water next to the bed. Sometimes I'll wash a dish, one individual dish.
That's
not all the dishes.
Strange.
One dish. Sometimes I sit down on the couch and I'll read. I force myself to read just to prove to myself that I can still read words.
That is something that I don't think I've ever done when I've been drinking.
Yeah, I'm unusual.
Would never be able to have the focus to be able to sit down.
Yeah, but I'm trying to tell myself we have this together. We have this together. And it's a way for me to stay up while I drink water, okay, before I put myself to bed. I also put on usually a full PJ set. Not my normal not my normal sleepwear. Not like a yoga pant sports bra, which is my normal everyday homewear. But no, I'll put a PJ, a Victoria's Secret PJ set on, sometimes with an eye mask.
That's advanced.
Yeah, because it's like she's trying to prove to non-drunk Courtney that we've got it together.
See, we're completely different drunks because I'm just fully embraced the point that
I'm a control freak.
I'm just like, let loose. If you're sloppy, you sloppy. If you have a bit of California burrito on your chest, then you know what? It happened. You got some mascara smudges. It is what it is.
Yeah, all over the pillow. That's bad
when
you wake
cute,
up.
But
it's not. It's not. Yeah, but so you're free and I'm a control freak. That's what we just learned from that question. That's what we just learned. Oh man. Okay, so next, do ladies like bad boys or guys who are romantic and love treating them like a queen?
So I've dated both, I would say.
Can I ask you how do you define a bad boy?
A bad boy would be someone who's kind of just, I don't know, just like a little more edgy, doesn't care what the world thinks. Maybe he has a motorcycle. We don't know.
Oh, he's Fonzie. He wears leather jackets. Punches jukeboxes.
He's not your conventional person, but he's a lot of fun. And you have a lot of passion with that person, I think, is what's usually involved. But they don't treat you right all the time.
Yeah, something's off.
They have some ego issues, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
They're not comfortable with being sensitive.
Yeah, it's a detriment.
A huge turnoff, actually.
Mm-hmm.
What else? What would you say?
Yeah, I would say those types of things. It's a guy that embodies almost sometimes just a physical aspect of being a bad boy. He hits a visual of it, right? You know, like that tattooed, whatever kind of I don't care. There's like an I don't care vibe to them. But sometimes, yeah, they come with an aspect of like they don't treat you exactly as you would like to be treated, but there's an intensity there. A little bit of extra drama with them, I suppose. Continue with what you were saying. You said you've dated both.
I definitely love romantic people. I mean, that's a huge turn on where, say, you come home and someone's cooked a full meal for you or wrote a letter to you expressing their feelings, you know?
Oh, you getting letters?
No, this is hypothetical. This is not real life. I mean, you know what I have, but it was a long, long time ago.
Sure.
But I would definitely say that there's got to be some type of happy medium there. A person excites you and still has that romantic level. That
still treats you well.
Yeah, you know, and there are those types of guys where it's like, oh, they're just the nice guy and you're not interested.
Yeah.
I would say that there's a difference between a nice guy and a boring guy.
Yes.
And a lot of sometimes the nice can go into the boring side. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do. But that's kind of the thing too, is like, there's something wrong with a nice guy. I feel like there's a stigma. Like guys think they shouldn't be nice. Yeah, of course you should be nice. Of course you should be a good dude. You know what I mean? But you also want to present yourself as a guy that wants that woman. You have to
Yes.
find the combo of that, where you're still being a man that's trying to get a woman, but you can do that in a respectful way, in a nice way, in a complimentary way to that woman.
Yeah.
There is a happy medium to that. And the phrasing of the question, which is like treating them like a queen, that feels like that's what that we are talking about far extremes there. The guy doesn't even have to be like that far on that edge, you know. He doesn't have to be the most romantic or the whatever. But also, like I said this before in one of my other things, where when I was talking about bad boys, I said sometimes it seems like women want a bad boy. They want a bad boy who like gives off that vibe, and he gives off an I don't care vibe to the world, and he kind of has that look, and he seems a little bit edgy. But she wants that bad boy to treat her like the nice guy would, her individually. You know what I mean? Like she gets that specialness from the bad boy, and that's like a special thing to earn. Do you think that's true?
I don't think that really exists.
Yeah, I don't know if it exists.
If you're a bad
do you think
boy,
that's sometimes what women
oh yeah,
want?
100%.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's hard to find. I don't know if that's a findable. So is that a word? Thing. That's a real
Want
thing.
it all.
Yeah.
I don't know. No, it's not reality.
And we learn that, I think, as we grow into women, when
Yeah.
it goes from all bad boy to realizing that you actually want somebody that's a little bit maybe more mature.
I mean, someone that just is a decent person who's gonna text you back is a good point.
Just trying to get that text back.
Trying to get that text back sometimes, it's difficult in itself.
Yeah. And it's funny, I don't know if you talk to some of like our guy friends, but like they'll be like, people don't text you back sometimes? I'm like, yeah. I don't always get texted back. I'm pretty sure that's like an everybody thing. You know? It's all the same. It's all the same, no matter what you look like or what gender you are. Okay, next question. We're going to switch it up. If you had to choose between a zombie apocalypse or an alien invasion, which would you choose? And what's the logic driving your choice?
Well, zombies are real nasty and gross and ugly. And I've seen a little bit of Walking Dead, so I get a good picture of it. So I'm going to go for aliens. Yeah. Because I feel like you shoot them, they're dead, right? Zombies, you got to do something special, right?
Okay, zombies. Oh, we got to go into the technology of the zombies.
You know more about zombies than
I love me some Walking Dead. So here's what I don't like about the zombie concept. I've always said I'd like to go out on the first wave, right? Because I'm like, do I want to even live in that world? I don't like that there's a disease you can contract. I don't like that that you watch fellow human beings turn into something gross.
Yes.
Like those things are more horrific to me when you watch your own loved ones turn into something unrecognizable and gross.
That's awful.
Right? Like that's a different level of nasty, and why I usually don't appreciate zombie things. But yeah, so I don't know if I'd want to live in that world with humans walking around eating humans. I mean, aliens,
they could impregnate. We don't know.
Oh God, that's a whole thing right there, isn't it?
Yeah. We don't know how many of them
what do they look
That's
like?
The thing.
Are they coming to battle us, or did they just show up? Maybe they're just here.
Maybe they just want to coexist.
What if they're just here? They're bringing crazy.
But that's not an invasion, though. So
no.
Yeah.
I guess I have to assume invasion means a negative thing.
Probably.
They're going to be way smarter than us. They're going to be bringing way better technology to the table. We won't win. I don't think we'd win. I don't.
We need a lot.
How did they get here? Just for them to get here. Just for them to get here, they're smarter.
Would we have to explode space? We don't know.
Explode space? Oh, Neil deGrasse Tyson right now.
There's not enough bombs for that.
There's not.
What planet are they from? We don't know.
No, they're probably from a different universe. I don't know. I kind of want to go with alien invasion.
Yeah.
I kind of want to go with that just because it's gross to see people that you love turn into disgusting flesh-eating creatures. I don't like that I could catch something. Maybe you could catch something from aliens. We don't know that, too. A lot of logistics here.
The thing with aliens is that they're unknown, so it seems more attractive because we won't know.
Because they're mysterious and we're all drawn to mystery, dang it.
Will they look like Predator? Or will they look like the Mars Attack aliens that are a little bit more
hope they look like Benedict
friendly.
Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
Because he looks half alien, half human.
It's the Star Trek one.
Come on. Doesn't he, though? He looks like he could be a future race. He's either from the past or from the future. I can't tell. But I like to think he's from the future, and he's half alien. So if it's an invasion of Benedict Cumberbatches, I'm taking alien invasion, everybody. But I do love The Walking Dead. We'll end with that. Okay. What was the best date of your life, and what made it so great?
Probably one of the best first dates that I had was in college, and I was dating a guy who owned a sailboat, and he took
That's
me
fancy.
out on the bay with some drinks, some champagne, and we went out and sailed, and just had a good time because we were just like really good together, and it was more of like a compatibility thing, but
it's a
in the
connection thing,
scenery,
right?
it was a connection thing.
Getting out into a little bit of nature
Mm-hmm.
with a person that you click with is huge. That's huge. I think that's the main thing is you gotta, I mean, like, don't like, what's a not good date? Movies.
Where you just sit there.
And you can't talk to each other. Like, that's a terrible idea, I think.
Yeah.
But good dates constitute, like, I feel like some guys think that, like, a great date means, like, oh, like, I gotta, if guys have asked me in the past, like, where should I take her? I gotta impress her. I gotta do all this and that. And I'm like, I mean, ideally, she shouldn't need to go any place that's, like, wildly expensive and that kind of fancy, you know? Because if anything, I think sometimes it makes you a little rigid on the first date.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you go someplace, maybe it's like a little too much. Maybe that's me.
No,
I
think
I'm more interested in like the talking.
Yeah, it's definitely how well you mesh. If there's not a lot of awkward pauses, if you're able to laugh a lot,
God dang it! I just wanna
laugh.
laugh, and I hate to get emotional. I'm not emotional, but I mean, like I just realized that like I try to think of some of the better relationships that I've had, and they were guys. They really made me laugh. They were very funny. They were very funny, and the relationship between us was very comfortable. But they made me laugh a lot, and I was thinking about that, and I was like, a lot of the guys that I've gone out with in the recent couple of years, you know, may have been cool guys, but they never made me laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems so, I don't like, like a cliche thing to say, I guess, I just something that makes me laugh.
Mm-hmm.
But it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. It can go the other way for guys too. Maybe they want a woman that makes them laugh. I don't know.
It's those endorphins that happen when you're laughing.
Mm-hmm. To get comfortable with somebody too. If you're free enough to get a laugh on.
It's about that you share the same type of sense of humor. That's a big thing.
Yeah. I'm pretty sarcastic. If I try to date somebody that does not understand sarcasm, I come off as rude.
Mm-hmm.
I do, but I don't mean to be. They just don't understand me.
Totally.
That's definitely important. So I think the best dates are the ones where you give yourself a chance to connect.
Yeah, show who you really are. Show your full personality. You're not holding anything back, really. You're just able to fully enjoy yourself and be in the moment and not feel like so much pressure. Where you're just kind of like,
because you're not being yourself in that time. Oh. And the whole point of going on a date is you should be wanting to be as much of yourself as you can, because to know whether you want to continue to see somebody, like you need to see each other's real selves. Right?
Yes.
And when you put yourself in those kind of like rigid dates where you're like going to a fancy restaurant and you feel nervous and you're not even in your correct environment, because you're trying to impress somebody, then you can't be your real self, and then they feel like you're both putting on airs.
Yeah. But please don't take me to Silver Fox on my first date. That's not what we're saying.
The place is a hallway where people drink and there's no place to stand and you're in the way. I feel like I'm always in the way. I haven't been there in years because I don't belong in there.
That's because they've had leopard print carpet for 30 years. That hasn't been changed.
They have leopard print? I've never noticed that. I mean, a bar shouldn't have carpet.
Never.
It just should not. PB Bar and Grill used to have carpet. And that was the devil, I think.
Yeah.
The definition of it. It smelled like throw up.
Yeah. And desperation.
And Heineken from 3 years ago. And desperation. What bar doesn't smell a little bit like desperation? Okay, next question. What do you like and dislike about modern dating?
I mean, I think modern dating is completely different because there's a lot more pressure on the women now to do more, right? In the olden days, it was just like a guy would ask you out and be like, we're going to the Peach Pit and we're going to get some milkshakes and you're going to come with me and we're going to have a burger and it's going to be a grand old time.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And it was all kind of like in their court.
Yeah. We're in very specific gender roles.
Yeah. And now it's kind of a little bit more equalized. But I would say I'm definitely a little bit more of a traditional person, and I would have totally been fine with that type of situation. But I mean, I definitely think it's just more difficult these days because there's so many more choices out there. Everyone can, there's like, on Bumble, you're like, you connect with like 20 people in a night.
Yeah, dude.
And
we do. You go through one good swipe sesh, and all of a sudden, you've got this unreasonable number of people to look at that you don't really know a whole lot about. And all these conversations to start that are all small talk. So it's like, how are you supposed to pull any focus to any one particular person? And all of these, that's the weird thing. One of the great things about modern dating is that you do have so much access to all these people, right? There's all these options of people that you would never normally meet. So it's almost like to think that your soulmate just lives in San Diego out of all the world is kind of a crazy notion. There's all these people in the world. Why should he have to live in your neighborhood? Odds are he maybe won't. So what's cool about modern dating is that you have the opportunity to find these people in places you would never run into, right? But what's awful about it is that now we have so many to look at all at once because we bombard ourselves with all these options and this swiping and all of that stuff, that then maybe we don't focus enough on one person at a time. It's almost like you have to, what do you do, limit your swiping? It connected with 2, stop.
Yes. No, it becomes depersonalized because these people are almost no longer people, right?
No,
it's a
they're
game
just pictures in a profile, and I sometimes forget when I don't answer, like there's a person over there, and I forget just because I haven't met them yet.
You have to think about it in the terms of, if I was in the opposite position, how would I feel? And how would I communicate? And sometimes you forget that, like, oh, just don't reply back,
Yeah, we have all gotten really used to that.
Oops.
I'll just
But then when you don't get replied back to you, you're like,
sucks.
Oh, it's sad. Am I a loser? And then you go, no.
Yeah.
I'm fine. It's just everybody else is kind of into what their own selves,
Yes. And it's a very different time from I guess back then where one, okay, you married people that you went to school with and that lived in your neighborhood. That's who you had access to, I guess, right? The idea of what you do with your life as you get older was a little bit more conventional, I guess as a woman, it's like, or, even as a man, it's like, oh, I get out of high school, I guess I find somebody to marry, I get married, I have kids, I get a job. And there was a more kind of a normal pattern of what you're supposed to do with your life. Whereas nowadays, we're way freer than that. We have so many more options. Being 30 is very young still. Very young. I know, because we're there.
TikTok.
Because we're there. But it's still very young nowadays. Yeah. And everybody's trying to, and this is a good thing, is trying to figure out who they really are, and they're waiting a little bit longer to find mates, which could be a great thing because you become more of probably who you're going to become. You become more of yourself because you have a chance to learn about yourself and get to where you maybe want to be before you find somebody. So maybe that helps relationships last longer.
I do think it's a good idea to wait longer to get married. Not to say that people that do get married younger don't work out, but I have had like a lot of friends who got married really young and are now divorced and now are completely different people and want different things. And I think it's important to realize who you are and what you want out of life instead of marrying someone and then finding out maybe we're different people.
Yeah, because you got to have some foundational things in agreement at least.
Yeah. But another great thing about dating today is that you don't have to go out to the bar and try to meet people or wherever you would try to meet people.
I got to be honest, I don't know how to do that anymore.
I don't think many people do that anymore. Like, will come up and approach you because it's just
guys tend to look. I'll see them look.
Yeah.
But like we're in a group of friends or whatever. Like I very rarely, like men don't usually come over unless you're left completely alone, maybe. But since sometimes the guys that approach you are like the ones you don't want to approach you, they're the guys that are just approaching everybody. Yeah, that's rough. Or somebody's like, oh, there's no nice girls or there's no nice guys in bars. They don't exist out in bars. And I'm like, wait, hold up. Like I was in a bar. Like I'm a nice
plenty
lady.
Of those great people in bars. It's the people that,
but they're not the one going up to anybody.
Douchey people are like saying those cheesy pickup lines
with
to you,
them
and you're
lines,
like, oh
dude,
boy, and then you just do a moonwalk out of the bar, and you're like, I'm out. Or you just hide behind a friend. You're
Yeah.
like,
I like that you left the bar with flair, though.
Yeah.
You had the moonwalk out.
Totally.
You would moonwalk out of a bar.
Yeah.
You would moonwalk out of a bar. I believe that. I believe that fully. So it's good because, yeah, we have more options. We don't have to meet people by running into them in the grocery store. Remember, they always told you that when we were younger? They were like, you just got to go out places. You just hang out in the grocery store and you check your cantaloupes, and some nice man will come up to you, teach you how to squeeze a cantaloupe. That's what somebody told me.
I've had a guy come
just
up
look
to me.
casual in a grocery store and a man will approach you. What?
First and foremost, I'm not like looking my best in a grocery store most of the time. So I'm not putting on a full, face of makeup or wearing like a nice outfit.
I don't even take my sunglasses off in a grocery store. I do not look approachable.
But I've had a guy come up to me and be like, so what type of eggs do you normally get? Like he was, that was his opening line. And I was like, well,
he's trying to have that. Okay,
free range, organic maybe. They're real expensive though.
It's like $7 for 12,
but they had a happy life, those chickens.
I wish I could just own chickens, so that's another story.
Yeah.
So what do we dislike about modern dating? It's flaky on my end, on guys' ends, on everybody's end.
Yeah, no accountability.
No, because we can very easily just disappear from each other with no issues, with no issues. Too many options.
Oh, the whole you're putting your best self forward in those pictures. Mm-hmm. So that's not necessarily you.
Not all day.
How long did you take to write your mini profile? How long did you think about that? Oh, what do people want?
Yeah, you can present yourself in whatever way you feel is the most
I'm going to put attractive. A picture of me and my bicep flexed. I'm going to put a picture of me with like a nice facial filter on from Snapchat where I'm looking skinnier.
People are like, you never take a bad picture. You'll say it's like certain people. And it's like, yeah, of course I do. Mm-hmm. Of course I do. But I'm not trying to post those. Trying to post those. I know where my face looks nice.
Yeah.
Not that I'm a bad looking person, or not that any of these people are bad looking people, but everybody knows like kind of what their best angles are. If anything, I get intimidated by all these guys. I mean, we live in San Diego. It's one of the cities where people tend to be more fit. Mm-hmm. People try a little harder. But like, I get intimidated by those like overly muscular dudes. That's a lot. I feel like pressure. And they always want to go they want to lift on the first date or something.
Yeah, like we're gonna go on a 5K.
Yeah, you like fitness? Let's do this 5K. Then we'll go lift.
Protein all day.
Then we'll do a triathlon. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what the guys sometimes will do. I'm like, oh, that's a lot.
It is intimidating. But what these people have to realize is that like you're gonna meet, so we're gonna find out the real you. Mm-hmm. So like stop fronting. The fitness people are definitely in abundance, I feel like here.
Yeah, we're heavy on them. Also, I think too, I mean like we all hate games, but then we find ourselves having to play them.
Oh.
You get stuck in it. You feel it because it's like people make you have to play games sometimes when you get out there.
Absolutely. I definitely don't like playing games, but I hear all these people being like, don't be so available. Don't be the first person to text back. Yeah. If he's not texting you, just wait. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, shouldn't I just be able to do what I feel?
We should.
And then it's like you find yourself having to play some of these games just out of necessity to attract the other person. And you're like, ooh.
Yeah, and it makes us second guess every little interaction we have, which makes us less real, less your natural self, because you're trying to not be judged by whoever you're talking to. It's like playing this huge game of like, who cares less?
Oh,
that's what I call it. It's like you play this game of like, you can't be the one that looks like they're more into it sometimes.
Definitely.
Both sides play that.
Like when someone doesn't text you back and then you're like, well, guess we're never talking again. Because I ain't texting back.
Because I'm not doing it.
Because I already asked the question and he didn't reply. Well,
guess that's over.
That's over. Like we're all so stubborn. Our egos are just like, oh, I don't want to be that needy person. It's like, you're not needy. You're just wanting to know, are we going out tomorrow night?
Yeah. Well, when I listen to some people that we know talk sometimes, you know what I mean? Like she's like asking me what we're doing tomorrow. Like what time? Like she desperate? I'm like, she's asking you a question of just like when you're going out tomorrow?
That's just logistics.
That's just trying to figure out her day. She's just trying to plan her day. I'm just saying. But yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that we get stuck in those games. And I think we can't get out of the games until more of us try to refuse to play them.
Yes.
As difficult as it may be. So there's good and bad things about this whole dating thing. Next, how can I tell whether she likes me or whether she's just being nice?
Guys, if a girl is into you, you will know.
I think they should, man. I feel like
personally,
yeah.
like I just know if you feel like someone's holding back and you're getting mixed signals, it's probably she's not into you. She's probably just being nice.
Yeah.
If she's making the effort to text you, if she's asking to hang out, if she's
if I'm asking you about your day,
yeah,
I'm
how
like,
are
hey,
you?
Good morning. How's your day going?
Complimenting you.
Yep.
Very
little
interested.
touches.
Yeah.
Little casual.
On the back.
Low back touch, maybe an arm touch. Because I don't really touch people for no reason. There's usually some reason I'm touching somebody, even in a casual, offhand manner. Or if I'm like, I'm trying to hang out with you in any capacity.
Yes.
If a girl's just really nice to you and you guys are communicating and you have a good time or whatever, but she's never trying to see you, then maybe she's just being nice. Should be pretty clear. But you could always ask, guys.
Always. Yeah.
Always
if you're
ask
unsure,
if you really want to.
just be like, hey, like that's the best policy, you know?
It's the cleanest policy, I guess.
I've been having a great time with you. I'm just curious if you're into me or not. If not, like, you know what? Let's continue being friends or not friends. Sometimes it's hard. But like, just be forward is the best policy, because then it gets to the point where it gets to be awkward and then they resent you for being, quote, nice. You know, it's just not a great situation anymore.
Truths. All right, here's a good one. Is there ever a good time to send a dick pic? I just sprung that on you.
I think, wow, I don't know. I haven't received very many, maybe one or two in my day. Yeah.
I've gotten a few. I'll tell you what. Is there ever a good time? If you're actually dating, maybe, and y'all are there, y'all are in that place where for some reason you like to send photography of your situation, that's great. Or, hey, if it's been requested.
I think that's probably a good rule of thumb. Like,
did she ask for it?
Like, are you engaging in that type of conversation? Is it leading that way where it would warrant some type of thing? If you're just saying, you know, in the middle of the day and you're like...
You mean like 2 p.m. at work?
Yeah, like you know, you've experienced
like
something
I've
like
experienced. That. If you're not expecting it,
then don't send it.
It's not a great way to...
Like, I would never think that was an okay thing. It's almost just like an eye rape type situation.
Yeah. Do you just take pictures of your boobs and send them to guys in the middle of the day?
Or like, you know, the lower end. That's not okay.
Hey, well.
Yeah, that's a little aggressive, wouldn't you think?
It would freak a guy out.
They'd be like, what is that?
It's like, oh, what's going on? No, I mean, I'm gonna say, if you're actually dating and you know that's your guys' thing, or if she specifically has asked you for this,
yes,
and you're down and you don't mind and you feel free with yourself to do so, just please don't send it to random people that you don't know. Don't send it to people that you're not even remotely kind of almost sort of dating. That's a little weird. It's too much. It's too much. You know why? Because I'm not going to receive that. It's not going to sway me to want to date this man.
Yeah. And no
matter what you send me, it's not going to be, I'm not going to look at that and go, yep, him. Going to go see him later. It's not how my mind works.
Yeah. And what are you expecting in return when you send a dick pic?
A compliment. I think they want a compliment.
But like, what kind of picture are you expecting in return when someone sends
Sometimes they expect something back. And I'm like, whoa, we didn't make that deal. You're creating deals that I didn't sign.
Also, like, that's going to take a lot of time. Angles, lighting. Something I haven't even thought of. Like, whoa.
That's a lot of pressure.
That's a conundrum right there.
It's a conundrum. So, guys, don't send those to random people in the middle of the day. Think it through. Next question. How do I get out of the friend zone?
Ooh, bold moves, I guess.
I think you want to ask yourself a question first, men.
She's just not that into you.
Ooh. You want to say, is this a real option? Is she a real option? Has she already told you no at some point? Then you're solidly in the friend zone. And that's going to be really hard. Or do you have a mild flirtation? Is there kind of a weird middle ground between you two where there seems to be some stuff in common? So maybe you have a little bit of a chance. So you really got to ask yourself the question, is this a valid option.
If you're like a 5 and she's like a 9 or vice versa. Not to say that doesn't happen.
But most people want to be kind of on their
playing field.
Yes. Well, it's kind of like if you think about like people that are really, really fit usually want people that are reasonably fit because it's part of their lifestyle.
Right.
It's how they maintain themselves. You would think that would just be easier for, they'd probably want somebody who lives that same kind of lifestyle. So I mean, maybe you have to think about those sort of things too.
Friend zone.
Like, it's hard to be in the friend zone.
If you're in the friend zone and you think that you are compatible and there's definitely a chance in that she's sending vibes towards your way, then make a grand gesture. Say something.
Mm-hmm.
Ask her out on a date. But if the girl hasn't given you any indication that she's even interested, then let it go.
Yeah.
And just be the friend. And don't say anything and make it uncomfortable.
Yeah. This is the time to get really aware, guys. Get really aware. Are there signs? Because if there are signs, you should be able to see them if you pay good attention. Now, if there are signs, then you need to make yourself a viable option too, right? You want to like present yourself as like a mature, confident, desirable man. Show her that you're paying attention to her, and then be forward and ask and make sure that she knows that you're an option. You're not just a nice guy hanging around. You're a genuine option to this woman. And sometimes that's the one thing that can flip it too for a woman. It's just like, look at this guy. Ooh, stepped up.
He's confident.
Yeah, he stepped
what
up.
He wants out of life.
And he's nice and we're friends.
Yeah.
Like, quite honestly, every boyfriend I've had has been a guy that was a friend first. We at least had some portion of friendship. They've never been guys that were just off the street randomly. Dated a lot of those. But
yeah,
as far as relationships, there's always been a little bit of establishment there. So it's possible. Definitely. But you got to look for those signs. Should I feel nervous about women that have mostly male friends?
I feel like you should answer this question first.
I was going to say, because that's me. I have mostly male friends. For me, I'd say no. I think it's kind of, I've ended up with, let me get to know myself for a second. Why have I ended up with mostly guy friends in my life? Sometimes I think it's a little bit just my interests, Mm-hmm. I like video games. I sometimes just find fewer women that I connect with for whatever reason.
Yeah, I mean, definitely it's sometimes harder to connect with women because they can be catty.
I've experienced a lot of that in my past, yeah.
But no, I don't think you should be afraid of that. You should realize that these women connect well with men, mm-hmm. and they're able to have those friendships without making it romantic. And that's definitely a good trait to have.
That's kind of the thing. It's like, look at, take a good look at the guy friends then. Are these a group of guys that she has around her that are a bunch of like yes men and she's flirting with them all the time? Mm-hmm. And they're just guys around her that compliment her all the time? That's not good. That's not the type of thing you're probably looking for because that's problematic. And then she's just looking for attention. But if you look at her friend circle, and there's genuinely just guys that she's known for a long time, and they're genuinely platonic and friendly, and she's known them for a long time, and there's never been any history between them, then why you shouldn't be worried about that changing once you're in the picture because exactly. She's already had these guys around, and they've just maintained friendships. So I don't think it's anything to worry about. If anything, I guess you can think about it as a good thing because maybe she'll get along better with your guy friends.
Yeah.
Maybe she's kind of just comfortable in that setting. So nothing to stress out about unless she's around a bunch of dudes that are constantly trying to date her all the time.
Totally.
Because that might get weird.
Yeah.
The last question. Are you ready?
Yes.
If you could change one thing about men, what would it be?
Ooh. Think about this for a sec. One thing? Just one thing?
You can change as many as you want. Be free.
Don't be afraid to be a sensitive person. Don't let society tell you that showing your emotions or crying or being weak in certain aspects of your life makes you less of a man. Because if anything, at least from I think our probably perspective is that that's more of attractive, that you are so confident in yourself that you're able to explore that different part of you.
Yeah.
Because everybody in society tells men that they need to be macho and not have those types of traits. But I think that's really important.
And I think there's a difference between macho and there's a difference between just being a man.
don't get me wrong, I don't want no wimpy boys,
No.
like, you know, just like
No
crying
wimpy
as much as I am at like little dog commercials, but you know.
You want to be comforted during the dog commercial
Yeah,
instead.
but I mean, there's a happy medium there. And another big thing is just the expectations for sex right away, you know?
Yeah, huge problem.
I think that
Men seem to just expect it
on
right
like
off
the
the bat.
first date, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
I don't know if that's just the men we run into, but that's incredibly common
that's
for
definitely
us.
a difficult thing for a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it should be expected right
Yeah.
away. And
then to be called uptight
yes,
because of it. And it's like, what? I just met you. Now I'm uptight because
yeah,
of that? Like, that should be, if anything, that should be more of an undesirable quality if you're looking for a
absolutely.
woman, right? I would think, in the grand scheme of things.
And don't expect a woman to always be on birth control. Man, bring your condoms. Come on. Not everybody is doing that these days.
No, it's surprising.
And you know what would be nice?
Mm.
Just asking if they're comfortable with it and what the situation is and if you're safe and clean. Like, nobody does that anymore. Everyone just goes, oh, let's do it and see what happens, you know?
Yeah, that freaks me out. That freaks me out. I don't like that.
There's so many
I
unknowns.
don't like that. Yeah. It seems like if everybody was just more honest about it from the get-go, you could be more comfortable.
Yes.
You could be more comfortable now in this situation because everybody knows that everybody's good and everything's taken care of. So you can get to the enjoyment part without all worrying about it's because that sits in the back of your mind, I would think, right?
Yes.
Just sit there and just like
Yes.
just fester. You know?
I feel like you need to become comfortable with each other before you even delve into that type of thing.
Yeah.
Are you a responsible human being, you know?
That makes sense. So have everybody be more responsible. So here's the thing about this question. It's like if you could change one thing about men. So even what you said, it wasn't like really changing anything at the root of men. It was saying men just be more comfortable having feelings and being a responsible adult and kind of owning up to that, right? Because I think sometimes what guys think is that we do want to change them. This is what that question infers. And I don't want to change the foundation of what a man is. I don't want a man to speak to me like a woman speaks to me. I'm attracted to men because I'm attracted to men, which is a ridiculous sentence, right? But it's like, I like, if I didn't want a man to be a man, then I would like women, but I don't. So it's like, I feel like they think that we do want to change them and we want them to deal with us in the same way that we would a best friend. And that's not true. If anything, we want them to kind of to bring that confidence. There's a certain like a strength, I think, that a lot of women are looking for, and a confidence in what they want and understanding themselves. And you can't expect that perfectly from everybody because we're all insecure beings that are trying to figure out what's going on.
It depends on each person. I would have to say, and some women get into relationships because they're like, I'm going to train this person. I'm going to change them.
Yeah, that's the wrong mindset.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that.
Be getting into a relationship with someone who already knows you kind of like where they are, Yeah. Otherwise, they need a little bit more work.
Here's what I ask myself these days. If this person never, ever changed, this is exactly who they're going to be. Is this who I want to be with? And people will change of their own volition. And that's the important thing is that people have to change. They'll change themselves or whatever. But you don't ever want to feel like you're going into it trying to change somebody because that's the wrong mentality to have. But it's like you want to go in there and say, like, is this person right here? Can I accept them for who they are? Because quite frankly, that's what I want a guy to do. I want a guy to, I don't want him to look at me and think about changing me.
Right.
That's awful. You want somebody to be hanging out with you and be like, I like you just the way you are.
Or you want someone that can bring out the better parts of you.
Yes, absolutely. They enhance you.
And maybe through those experiences, you become a better person and you learn to be a better person because of it. You don't always want to tell someone to be that a certain way because then they retreat. They're like, I can't live up to your expectations.
No, you wanna find a mutual partnership where both of you are trying to be a better person for the other person just because they want to do it.
Yeah,
it comes from you. You want to be better for him just because you love him. He wants to be better for you just because he loves you. That's probably the ideal situation there. Nobody's trying to change anybody,
but you both just care enough that you become better and you bring out the better sides of each other. I've been with people that bring out the worst sides of me. Goodness gracious, that is a terrible idea. I was like, who am I? Who is this person?
I mean,
I don't like her.
There is something to be said about people who have changed each other, though, that they've learned to be better people because of the advice of someone else.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think there is the opposite situation where relationships have worked out because they pointed out things where they have shortcomings, but it's definitely not a great place to start always, you know? It's definitely
You definitely don't want to begin with changing somebody.
Like, so I like you, but here's a list of things we need to work on.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Yeah.
That's the best way to create a lot of fear and jealousy and anxiety.
Yeah.
In a relationship, which are relationship killers.
Mm-hmm.
I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
Preguntas.
I think that ended on a good note, though.
Yeah,
I think that's good. That was an important one. Let's not try to change each other. Just all try to be our best selves out there, right?
And bring out the best in each other.
Perfect. I love it. All right. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. That's it for this one. And I hope some of those answers were helpful, or at least interesting to listen to us get through. Most important thing I realized from this conversation is we could all benefit from just some real and more honest communication. As men and women, we tend to communicate differently sometimes, and that's okay. We can realize that we're equal and just not the same, and just begin to embrace some of those differences. Thanks for being here with me, and I hope you'll keep joining me every Tuesday for new podcasts. If you'd like to support this podcast, subscribe and leave a nice rating on iTunes, or even just share it with one person this week. I'd really appreciate it. If you want to keep in touch with me, I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Courtney Diamond, or you can head over to CourtneyDiamond.com to keep up with my blog. And with that, I'm out of here. Hope you all have an amazing day or night, and I'll talk to you soon.